Well, this is a fabulous crowd for our very first panel on the KBIS Next Stage of KBIS 2016. Welcome. Great to see so many people here. Introducing our panel today, you are going to hear the trials and tribulations we all know that happens in this industry. What happens between the designer, the remodeler, the builder. And we have a very esteemed panel here today. First, I'm going to introduce Chelsea Butler. Wave.
All right.
Chelsea is the executive editor of Kitchen and Bath Business Magazine. And as a PR person, I can say she's got her thumb on the industry, insightful editorial, and we value Chelsea's contribution to the kitchen and bath industry very much. And I'll let Chelsea take it from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne. Can you all hear me okay? Okay. Thank you so much for coming. As she said, I'm the editor of Kitchen and Bath Business Magazine. Hopefully you all have been able to pick up one of our new issues. We have a brand new redesign that we're debuting at KBIS. So just wanted to open with that. Want to go ahead and get started with our...
I just came right here.
Our session. So today we're going to talk about solutions to your biggest kitchen and bath challenges. We have 2 contractors and 2 designers on our panel. We'll introduce them in a few minutes to discuss those for you. So they're going to discuss several challenges, including how to communicate effectively with your entire team, how to handle a difficult client, how to stay on time and on budget with your projects, how to properly present designs and plans to clients, how to plan for surprises, how to earn what you are worth, how to stay up to date on products, and finally, how to create a business model in today's economy. We're going to try to get through all 9 challenges, so we're going to save a few minutes for question and answer at the end, and then some of the panelists will be available after the session, time permitting, to answer any other questions you might have. So without further ado, I'd like to have the panel introduce themselves. We'll start out with Nar Bustamante.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, and just FYI, I'll be showing some slides of each of their projects while they're introducing themselves.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Nar Bustamante. I'm out of Sacramento, California. I am the principal designer and owner of Narfine Carpentry, which is a design-build company. We try to build everything we design and also provide products. We have a couple of showrooms in California, and contractors come to us for product. We help design projects for contractors. We design projects for ourselves. We're very involved in the design community. And so that's a little bit about Narfine Carpentry and myself.
Next is Gloria Graham-Solicito.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I think everybody could speak up a little bit. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Really excited to be here. I'm a 22-year veteran of the kitchen and bath industry. I'm from South Florida, where I work mostly from Jupiter to Miami. I've served on the local NKBA chapter board in the past as a VP of Communications, and I am the author of ArtfulKitchens.net. And I love to travel around to trade shows with Modenas on their blog tours, and with Blanco, the Blanco Design Council, and most recently Tiles of Spain.
Okay, great. Next is Riva Kusmo.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Riva Kusmo, and I'm a licensed general contractor in Pasadena, California. I've been in the industry for 30 years, and I'm a residential remodeler, and I prefer working from mid-century back, and I love restoring old homes.
Okay, great. And last but not least is Tom Silva.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom Silver, general contractor for This Old House, and also I own my own company that we do high-end restorations and renovations and building. Been involved with the This Old House television show for over 30 years. It's the longest running how-to show in the world, and still seen in 4 different countries, so proud of that. And it's a family-owned business, and I grew up in it and never wanted to do anything else but what I do.
And FYI, Riva Nar, and Gloria are all on the KBB editorial advisory board, so maybe we can talk Tom into joining after KBIS. We'll see.
You don't have anything to do you?
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the challenges. The first challenge is going to be dealing with difficult clients. For example, those who are indecisive, have unrealistic expectations. I'm sure you've all dealt with some of those. So we'll go ahead and get started. Nar, do you want to take it?
Sure, I will. A little bit about difficult clients is I find that most of the time it's how we set up our process. I don't expect people in the general public to know what the process is when they approach us, what things are going to cost, how long things are going to take. So really the difficult client is more the uneducated client that we need to spend time educating properly up front, so then they understand from that point forward what your terms are. And we want people to work on your terms, not you work on their terms, because people are going to come at you with unreasonable budgets, unreasonable timelines, a wedding, a funeral, whatever. All these things pop up, but we are in charge. And that's really, when we lay that groundwork out, people then do respect that and follow through with your process. And that actually takes most of the challenge away from your experience with a challenging client.
Okay.
I find that one challenge is decision making. A client can be difficult when they can't make a decision. And one thing that I learned early on was the 2-point selling method, where it's really hard to make a choice when you have 12 options. But if you narrow it down to 2, just pick 2 of them, this one or this one. They pick one, pick another one, this one or this one. And that way you can kind of narrow it down, and it's a little less intimidating for them. Also, I like to utilize past projects. Sometimes someone's a novice, they're not, they don't see everything we see. They don't have a sense sometimes of what things cost and where they fit into the scheme of things. So use your past projects, use photographs, use drawings that you've done for other jobs, and say, look, this one costs this much. And it kind of gives them at least a ballpark and a sense of where they are. So those are a couple of helpful ideas. Tom?
I agree with both of you guys. You're dead on it. But I also realize that over the years of experience dealing with homeowners is they don't understand what's involved and how long the process may take to do something. So I like to get the homeowner involved, and I like to show them, for example, the last project that we did in Boston on the show, one of the things that the homeowner wanted to do, she wanted to change all the hardware on all of her old doors. And I simply said, well, you know, that's very time consuming. And she said, well, I don't think it would be bad. So I said, well, Catherine, why don't you try changing out the hardware? Well, she lasted for about 2 hours, and she said, you're right, it's a lot of work. And, you know, homeowners don't understand the process of installing kitchen cabinets or tiling a wall. And as soon as they change the detail of a tile pattern, for example, all of those, there's 2 things that are going to change. The prep and the cost is going to change, and it's going to make a big difference. So they have to be educated early on to figure that out.
Yeah, communication too.
Absolutely.
Because if they don't understand, the more you communicate, the better. Sometimes I know it's a natural thing that when something is wrong, we just don't want to go there. But you bite the bullet, communicate, and they appreciate that. And a lot of times that can turn the tide too.
Communication is always key, and always letting them know where they are in their budget, and if they want to add something, you know, it's going to be X amount of dollars. You've picked out this, but now you want to change it to this. It's going to cost you so much more. And a lot of times they won't do it. Sometimes they will.
Okay, we'll go on to challenge number 2. And this is going to be budgeting properly before signing a client, creating a realistic budget, dealing with a challenging budget, communicating with the team before bringing the budget to the client. Riva, you want to start us?
Well, I will start with piggybacking on what these guys said as far as communication, and add to the word communication, clarity. Absolute clarity about what is going to be involved. Just as an example, we went and looked at a full-on remodel in San Marino, just south of Pasadena. And the architect had drawn the plans, and the windows he included, he really didn't have a conversation with the homeowner about, and the windows alone at my discount were $32,000, and they had no idea that windows were that expensive. And she wanted aluminum crank windows to keep in line with the year of the home. So to have that conversation and be really clear and just get the money on the table up front, because the bottom line is, when you're going to sign a contract, money is involved.
Nara, do you have anything you want to add to that?
I do. So the upfront conversation with a client is probably the most important, successful part of the entire project. So we get approached as designers every day. This is what I want. They have dreams, they have pictures. They've been watching This Old House. And,
Blame me.
So they don't know, people don't know what things cost. They have an idea. Their friends did a remodel. Their friends built a home. So a lot of times people approach clients and say, well, what's your budget? They don't know their budget. So the important thing is for us to know this is how you identify a budget, walk them through the scope of their project very carefully, and then say, based on what you told me, based on the project that you're looking at, this is what a reasonable, realistic budget is. I won't even sign it unless they've agreed to that we're speaking the same language, we're in the ballpark.
Right. Well, what I find is that the estimate is key. But we do a lot of restoration, so there are a lot of hidden unknowns that you're not going to know about until you open up a wall. And the homeowners are always like, I let them know an estimate is basically an estimate. It's not a etched in stone price. If they want an etched in stone price, then the estimate is automatically going to go up. The reason it's going to go up because I have to cover myself, but I also have to be fair to myself and fair to them. But you try to get them involved with an estimate, understanding the estimate, and the estimate is really spelled out in depth. For example, the last This Old House project that we did, there was a lot of detailed paneling in the walls and turnings of newel posts and stuff like that. And I knew a rough idea on their estimate. The estimate was already going to go higher than they had allowed for. So in the estimate that I gave them the cost for materials, and I itemized each room individually, and I also itemized the cost for labor. But in some of the rooms where they wanted added all this wainscoting to match the other detail, I simply gave them the price for the material without labor. So that when they questioned it, the architect stepped in and said, well, that's not a labor cost. You're going to have to spend some money for that. And I said, I agree. The reason I added that as an extra is because if you had seen that in your budget, you would have been shocked and you would have been like, oh my God, it was that much. What can we eliminate? You don't want to eliminate the wainscoting, but you don't want to pay to put it in. So anyways, they ended up doing both because they understood the process.
Okay, good information. We'll go on to challenge 3, which is creating trust, improving communication with your whole team, be it the client, designer, contractor, which kind of goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about with the difficult clients. I'm sure establishing trust ahead of time alleviates that in the future. So, Riva, you want to start us out with this one?
Well, I think for me, when I work with a designer or an architect, I want to create the trust of who's doing what, have real clear communication about that, and to, again, be very clear with telling them, asking them, don't suggest something to the client as far as a change goes without having a discussion about the cost of doing it. Because if you get them excited and you say, well, it should be about a $2,000 change, and it's a $6,000 change, that $4,000 may not make a difference to them, but it might. So that's how I develop trust. Communication, again.
Okay.
That's very important.
You have something to add?
Yep. So when it comes to trust, transparency is huge. to be able to have your social media, your company represent what is being talked about in the community about who you are. So by the time the client gets to you, you're telling them what they've already heard, seen, and read about. So if they're seeing things and then they go to you and you're saying something different, it's kind of like trust is broken at that point, because now they have to get to know you versus what they read or heard about you. So really laying out transparency with how you work and on all mediums is really key.
I'll just say one thing. I like to have the homeowner involved on the site. I like to have them there on a regular basis so they can see the process of what's involved. Like when you open up a wall and you find a rotted beam, I show them the beam and I explain what's going to be involved to install the new beam. And then I want them there lots of times when the process is set up and ready to install. So I don't want them there to slow me down. I just want them there to see that there's a lot of work involved in what they're paying for.
Okay. We talked about this topic in our session last year, establishing a good relationship between the designer and the contractor. Does anyone have any comments on that, the importance of that and how to establish that?
I think it's important to have a good relationship to the designer, because I leave it to the designer to design and I build it. And the designer deals with the homeowner. They understand what they want. They can explain things the way that they're looking at it, and then I can simply make recommendations to the designer and the homeowner and work as a team. I find it a lot better to work together as a team. Everybody should work together, and it makes everything jive and go together much nicer.
Everyone needs to be on the same team or feel like they are on the same
Absolutely.
team. And it also, because contractor, designer, we're the trades, if something should happen, a problem, it's good for us to talk first and then present it to the homeowner.
Right.
So the line of communication and efficiency of communication is probably the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, we'll move on to challenge 4, which is properly presenting designs and plans to clients. Gloria?
Yeah, this is the fun part. When I begin working with a client, I like to utilize the internet, and I love this. I love Pinterest, House, create a board, a private board, invite them to join it, and let them put their impressions and anything that appeals to them. It gives me a sense of who they are and how to design for them. And they also I also put my suggestions and the things I specify on there. So that helps start the process. I also recently took a presentation course through the NKBA, and they have for you, if you belong to the NKBA, a whole set of specification sheets that you can download and customize for your own business, so you will never forget when you're presenting to a client and getting ready to place the order. You won't forget to ask them, oh, what edge detail do you want? What color do you want the interiors to be? Everything is on these sheets. And I went on there to tell you how to get to them. You log in, go to the resources on the sidebar, leads and business tools, and then business management forms. That's where you find it. The devil's in the details, and this really helps you stay and not forget, because our business is one business of a bazillion different details, and one thing goes wrong, it can cost you a lot of money. So consistent forms, apps help too. That's what I got.
Anyone else want to add anything to that?
A little bit to that.
Okay.
So in presenting to your client, every client is different. So we try to not present the same way to everybody. We need to understand what mediums they're comfortable with, what project they're doing. Is it a kitchen remodel? Is it a whole house? And so, and also not just to put everything on the table all at once. When we present, we really try to make sure that we're putting all the bullet points of what the client came to us for, and making sure that we're addressing those items. That's really important to the client. And furthermore is present things in layers. So they're not experts. They don't know as much as we know. We can see kind of three-dimensionally. So present things gently in layers. First the floor plan, and then maybe individual rooms. Maybe then go to elevations, and then maybe bring out some of the touch and feel items, tile, cabinetry, flooring, get them excited about those things, and then that way there's a organic movement in the presentation. So by the time you get to the final, which is the sale of the project, they're excited about it, they understand it, they feel heard, and at that point your presentation was successful. Otherwise we can design all day, put it on the table, and they don't know what they're looking at, even if it's amazing. So
I find it interesting over the years that I've been putting projects together that homeowners have said, oh, this is going to be great when it's on paper, and after it's done, they say, wow, I didn't think it was going to be like this. This is beautiful. I love that when you get that.
Okay, we'll move on to challenge 5, and that is keeping a project on time, which I'm sure you all have some advice on, but you want to start out, Tom?
Yeah, the easiest way to keep the project on time is have the homeowners not say those 4 magic words during construction while you're at it. As soon as they say that, guess what? The budget's just changed. And the other way to do it is just make sure everything is down on paper, make sure they know what they want, they've chosen the tile, they've chosen the finishes, they've got the paint colors, we've got everything done, and then when everything is chosen, they can go away and come back when it's done. Because sometimes they'll change in the middle of the process of painting a room, they'll change the color. Or if it's too dark, it's too light, They don't give it a chance to get decorated. They don't, the designers and decorators know what they're doing. I find a lot of times, I just shut my mouth, I look at a wall, I say, I'm not sure about that color, but I'm not saying anything because they know what they're doing, I don't. I just know how to build them.
So would you say that one of the biggest issues of keeping a project on time is actually the client?
The client, absolutely, will make the changes. They'll listen to their family or their friends, and they're not listening to the people that know what they're doing.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Yeah.
One important thing is when clients make changes, accept the changes. We're all about change sometimes.
Absolutely.
And but with every change comes timeline and money. So it's not just it's this much more money, but also this much more time. So at the end of the job, I can't tell you how many projects we get to, and let's say that we promised we'd be done June 1st. Now it's July, and they're like, hey, the contract says June 1st. Well, yeah, but you also have, 62 days worth of change orders.
Right.
Right? So now we're actually ahead of schedule.
Right. Well, the biggest problem that I have with the television show is I have a production schedule, and the production schedule doesn't change no matter how many changes there are, no matter how many unknowns happen, no matter how many times a delivery doesn't come when it's supposed to come, and it's just crazy. And the only way that I can make it happen is I have to increase the manpower, and we work longer days, and the customers and sometimes have to choose a different product that we can get to meet that timeline. But it's still, added hours, added time, still makes more money spent by the homeowner, and they have to be aware of that. So.
Anyone else?
I'll just add 3 words to Tom's 4. While you're at it, can you just? And a long time ago I said, there's no such word as just. What is your just? Because that will usually increase time and money.
Okay. So we'll move on to challenge 6, planning for surprises and communicating those to the client. Tom?
Do I have that one?
You do.
Planning for surprises. I do a lot of houses, and I will do a renovation project, and you go in and you know that a floor is pitched or a wall or is sagging or bent, and you don't really know what it is. What I try to do is give an estimate of what I think the issue is and what the problem will be, and I tell the homeowner, look, this could be a $2,000 job, it could be a $5,000 job. Let's carry $5,000. If it's less, then you will pay the lower number. But we have to be able to feel comfortable going into this battle whether or not we're going to win it. So I always try to give them a number, 2 numbers, what I think it will be, and a number to cover myself and their budget. So That's the way I do it.
Does anyone else have an example of a surprise that came up that you had to deal with?
Well, we find surprises all the time when people want to do a remodel and the previous owner did things.
Oh, yeah.
We had one where the previous owner had put the gas line under the slab. Well, we had to get to it, so what did that involve? Some work.
And how do clients deal with something like that? I mean, that's definitely
Well, most of the
on them.
time they
have to-
understand.
Yeah.
Most of the time they understand.
Okay.
I mean, I did one in a major renovation where it was the homeowners bought it. They wanted to renovate some of the space. We ended up having to gut the whole place because the previous homeowners did a major renovation, and the contractor that they hired did a terrible job and destroyed a lot of structure just to get ductwork and electrical work in, and they ruined a lot of the structure. So they spent thousands of dollars of extra money and labor just repairing bad workmanship.
Okay. Move on to challenge 7, and this is earning what you are worth through proper contracts and billing. Want to start out, Reva?
Well, I'm also a remodel coach, so I work with homeowners and I work with contractors. And the biggest thing with contractors, a lot of times, is underbidding. And a lot of times they're underbidding because they don't even know what they need to earn. And I've asked them, well, do you have a spending plan for your business? No. Well, do you have a spending plan for yourself? No. So you don't know what you need to earn as just a person. And until you know that and you plug you into what your company has to earn, along with the profit and the crew and the insurances and all of that, you're not going to be able to bid properly because you don't know what you need to earn. And a lot of that is about absolutely knowing that you are worth what you're charging. Because if you're bringing an amazing experience to the table, not that it's going to be cheap or clean, it's going to be dirty and cost money. But if you're bringing an experience to the table where you're educating and you're communicating clearly, that's worth a whole lot. And then if you show up and do the work every day, that's worth a lot too. So you have to know and value yourself and what you do and be willing to charge for that. And when you get no's, be willing to take the no's and know that the next client that is for you is around the corner, and allow yourself to stand in your truth that you're worth what you charge.
Yeah, if you want to be able to take pride in what you're doing, you want that job to last for a long time. You want to make sure that whatever you do it right the first time. You take care of the things that you don't see to make the things that you do see perform and last long. So if you're going to hire somebody to do the subcontracting, to frame something, and he's going to do it, and you took him because his price was really cheap and you thought it was going to be really great, when they come in to hang the cabinets on the wall or put the tile on the wall or hang a window or a door and everything is crooked, you're trying to figure out why. It's because you tried to save money. Big mistake.
Yeah, there's an adage that you probably heard before, good, fast, and cheap. You can pick 2. Think about it. You can only pick 2 of those. So if you want it good and cheap, you're not going to get it fast. So, and any of those combinations work. I wish there was a diplomatic way to get that point across to clients sometimes. So if you have an idea, let me know.
Yeah, you want to pay a little less now or a lot more later to fix it.
Well, and also to get what you are worth as a contractor, as a designer, is first, people are not just paying to put things together, they're really paying for a whole experience. They want to make sure their investment is sound. So to get what you are worth, first you need to create your own reputation and make sure that you're consistent, transparent, and you become worthy. And once you are worthy, people come to you and they don't really bargain with you. They want to work with you.
Right.
Once they want to work with you, you're in control of the whole project, start to finish. And they're coming to you because you are worthy and they're willing to pay for that.
What I do, and I've always done it, and when I worked for my dad, he did it. When I have subcontractors that work for me. My subcontractors, I've had they're the sons of subcontractors that my dad had. I use them because I know they're good. I've never questioned their price. Whatever price they give me, the homeowner gets their estimate along with my total estimate and all the markups that go with it. So they see what they're getting. They get a list of everything from the subcontractor on what they're doing, his price, my price, and the markup for overseeing the project. So if there's any questions, the subcontractor and myself get involved, solve the problems, answer the questions. If there's an added fee, the subcontractor charges his, I charge my markup for overseeing the job. That's how it works. No questions, no surprise.
Okay. Move on to challenge 8, and that's creating a business model that works in today's economy. Gloria, do you want to start us out with this one?
Actually, that's something that's changed so dramatically from when I began in the industry. It used to be you had a huge, ginormous showroom, and the day came where most people couldn't sustain that type of overhead anymore. It used to be that consumers would visit multiple showrooms before they decided who they wanted to purchase for. Now they go to the internet to decide who they want to visit in person. So utilizing digital technology, photos, keeping the overhead down with a smaller square footage showroom, unless you're a huge corporation, is crucial. Of course, it's important to have the things that you need to see and touch and feel, color samples, samples of cabinets. That's really what you need. And then you can show so much more from investing in good photography than you can in a couple of really expensive displays. Anybody else?
Nara, do you want to add to that one?
You could. Business models are evolving in such a way that there's no right business model, there is no wrong business model. You have to know your area, you have to know your community, how much overhead you can handle, what people are looking for. Social media ads, to piggyback on that, a huge impact as to how you are perceived. And so you want to make sure that that perception is extremely consistent with who you really are. And in the end, people aren't really going with the old school model where, you know, that's the store I've always gone to, that's where I buy my eggs, and that's how it's always going to be. Now it's, let's just see what's out there. And so you want to be presentable in that market of what's out there.
Okay. And an investment in your website obviously is crucial. It's very basic, but you'd be surprised at how many websites that don't have the contact information prominent. I've had consumers tell me this, they couldn't find the hours on the website. So you definitely want to do that. And the other thing is when we're shopping for things and we're on the internet, we look for reviews. So it's really important to get reviews on not only a house, but the common places where people look, Google, Bing, Yelp, and those types of places.
The internet is really key. I get a lot of customers will print out something and they'll say, can you build this, or will this fit here, or what do you think about this? And you know, it's really helped move the process along. Big deal.
Okay. So our final challenge is staying up to date on new and discontinued products, because after all, KBIS is just once a year. So maybe if each of you want to talk about how you're able to do that throughout the year.
Yeah. One very obvious method is to develop a good relationship with your reps, with your vendor reps. They're the ones that have their ear to the ground. They are familiar with everything that's going on in your area, and they're your liaison between the manufacturers that you carry and who they represent. So, and I do love to go to there's more than just KBIS. There's a lot of different trade shows out there, so take advantage of going to them if you can. If you can't, because thank God for social media, they're widely covered. So just pay attention to that.
And I would say the KBB and the kitchen bath design and my remodeling magazine. I read them, and especially when I find really interesting and new products, I'll call. So I just communicate. I really go through the magazines. I post that on my Facebook and give people ideas and ask them questions. And like Gloria said, social media, things are just covered. It's so easy to keep up if you put a little bit of time in.
Again, the internet is big, but we have a This Old House magazine, and I have a lot of writers back, and they're always sending me articles and stuff like that on new designs and stuff like that, so I'm pretty fortunate that way. And we have a lot of vendors that are always sending us stuff because they want to get it on air. So I guess I have a little inside back door to get a lot of information, so I'm fortunate that way.
I would say travel a lot, read a lot, know who you are mostly. There's no way to know every product that's out there or to spec out random products that you don't know about just because you like how they look. I'm in California, so a lot of products don't even work in California. They're not allowed. So it's good to have your comfort with the products that you do like, venture out, always seek new items, but research them well. But don't try to capture the whole world here because it's huge, and really get to know what you're about and what you're presenting and what you're designing and what you're building, and then branch out from there. Clients know just about as much as we do at times. I have a lot of clients that are extremely well educated. They're doctors who are sitting in their back office during coffee break reading up on the details of the faucet. They come at me and tell me every working mechanism in that faucet. I'm just like, all right. Nice. Yeah, no, I'm glad you know about it. I have no idea what you're talking about. And so, so they're also very educated, and people will bring to you people show me stuff all the time, and I look at it, and then just see, is there a place in my life for this product or for how I design, and then move on or not.
I agree with what you said 100%. You got to be very careful of new products coming out there. You want to make sure that you cover yourself and the homeowner. You want to make sure just because something looks good, feels good, and seems good, it might not be good. So you want to make sure that it's been tested and proven to work for a long time.
Okay, great. So we do have some time for questions from the audience, if anybody has any.
Come on now, don't be shy.
No
There's
question.
one.
Wow.
Do we have a mic that I can take? I can do it. Do you want me to do?
I think I heard your question, and yeah, no doubt you can find stuff cheaper on the internet, but I think that that's not the whole equation. I think that if you are making it easier for the consumer and to purchase from you, then you're going to get the sale. Because a lot of times I point out, yeah, you can buy that sink online, but what happens if, you have a problem? When they're dealing with you can put their mind at ease and you can make it easier for them. And that's worth something too, as well as price. You just have to sell it and believe in yourself.
I got to add to that a little bit.
We need that again.
I've had homeowners, clients say to me that they think that they could buy something like, I don't know, let's say the windows. And they can put it on their credit card, they get a Disney trip, and they'll save the price of the markup and all that. And I say, well, that's fine, you can do whatever you want, but if there's a problem with that window, don't call me,
But I can
call them. Because I'm not going to fix it, you're going to have to get someone else to fix it. That's what they're paying for you to oversee the job and make sure that things are done correctly, and they go in right.
I'm going to add one little thing to that, and I basically just say no. If that's the world you want to approach, where you buy your own things, then you don't need me. You're coming to me for a reason, so you're going to have to trust that. You're going to have to jump in 100%. And this is how I work, and this is how I don't work. Either you're in or you're out. And that just gets rid of a lot of that clutter. I've gone through that thing where, okay, well, they bought the faucet didn't work. Well, now I'm going to charge to take the faucet out, put the new one in, the time lost. Now, suddenly that faucet costs, $2,000 because they saved $38 online. It doesn't make sense. So,
Yeah, and that's really what happens when I tell them what, if they do it, they're gonna end up paying more in the long run. And 99% of the time, they won't do it.
yeah.
They'll just let me go ahead, what's been designed and what goes in.
I have a question for you. How often are you guys charging for an initial consultation and a walkthrough?
All right, should I start with that?
Sure.
Go for it.
So initial consultation, do we charge? I think that initially I don't. I basically give everybody a friendly moment for them to see me personally, for me to see them, make sure we're a fit, make sure we're talking, the right project, because not everybody that walks through our door is a client for us. And so we don't want to charge somebody for half hour of our time to figure that out. But from that point forward, we don't really give them any information. So from that point forward, if we're on, then they're going to be writing a check. And that check is not usually based on time, it's based more on the overall project. So I try to take things away from that initial consultation idea to you're just basically putting a deposit down for the whole project, and we're just going to start getting into it.
I would say the very first meeting, I agree. I look for a connection of some sort. I like to have that in the client's house, and unless it's somewhere far and not very local for me, I wouldn't charge for that. But getting a sense of a person in their environment and figuring out, oh, they like tennis, there's a connection, and finding the connections is going to make it easier to work together. So that would be my answer. And it's an opportunity at that first meeting also. This is how I work, and I explain how I charge and how the process works, and then we take it from there.
And I don't charge for initial estimates. I will go out, but I will also, when I talk to them on the phone and they want to remodel their kitchen, I will ask them if they have any idea what they want and if they know what that will cost. Because if what they tell me I know is roughly $75,000, and they say, well, I saw it at Home Depot that you could do that for $10,000. Not my deal.
And we don't charge either for initial conference.
Okay, you were talking about challenges and deadlines, and none of you brought up the difficulty of suppliers that don't show up, or goods that come and that are the wrong goods that delay everything. How do you handle that?
Or good what?
Goods that are delivered and it's the wrong goods, or they're defective, or I find I work in southern Florida, and I have a lot of suppliers that are not very dependable. The business has increased tremendously. There's far more going on than there was a year or two ago, and the contractors don't have sometimes enough manpower, but they take the jobs anyway. So we find that there's a lot of delays caused by suppliers that don't come. Electricians, they're running late on another
So
job.
suppliers and subs. Well, I've worked with my guys for 18 years, so I have a loyalty that it's like right now I'm here, so my lead foreman, who's also a contractor, he's an officer on my corporation, is doing a job, and I said, so just when you're finished with it, we'll proceed. He goes, but I told him, if something comes up for you and I can take a break, I will, because I'm his first loyalty. So, and as far as like materials, I like to get things on site as much as possible before I start demos, so that I know. We once started a bathroom and the toilet came just before it was time, and it was pink instead of white. So years ago I thought, better to get it on site.
Yeah, those are the situations that I was referring to that you need to communicate on, you know? And it happens. It happens to everybody. We're always going to have a glitch or a mistake or something's going to come in wrong. You communicate, and if the problem is the manufacturer and their performance, then you should look for a different manufacturer.
Yeah.
That's a huge question. Because there's a lot of moving parts in this business, and the best thing that the client could sign up for is that you will handle it properly. There will always be delays, there will always be products that come in damaged, there will always be a mix-up in two numbers, so you got pink versus white. Your subcontractors took on too much work, so they're not able to show up. This is where that conversation of, you create your community and who your faithful people are, and they work for you and you work for them, and you make sure that the clients are handled. That's the important thing. But along the way, it's just relationship based. I find that when something terrible happens, some product came in severely damaged, if I haven't done business with that company much, and I call them and say, hey, this piece came in broken, they're going to question it, they're not going to rush it. But if I've been doing, $500,000 worth of business with them, and I call them and say, hey, this came in damaged, I got another one coming out as fast as they could put it out there. So it's all about the connections and relationships that you make, how to make that process successful as possible. Because we didn't sign up to put out a perfect product. We signed up to deal with the whole process to get there.
Any other questions?
Easy crowd.
All right. Good job.
There's a shortage of crews, it seems to be, because since 2008, and things went down, and now things are coming back up again. And it seems like there's more work than there are men. Is that something that you all have, you said 18 years you've had crews, and so it's building relationships, maintaining them, but the thing is if they leave and they go back to their particular country or just get out of the business completely, that's just kind of challenging as well.
Yeah, that's a major problem. I think that, well, maybe I should let you guys pick that one up, but that's huge right now. Where are the people that are interested in what we're doing, in being true craftsmen or true tradesmen or true designers or true anything? And I look at my crew and, okay, he's 40, he's 40, he's 40, he's 40. Well, where's the 25-year-old kid that is invested in making this his career? He still thinks he might be a doctor, but he's not in school to be a doctor. He might, win the lottery, I don't know. But their foot is not 2 feet in, it's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So it's an issue. I can't answer that. I'm up against that. I'm sure everyone here is.
I wish we could all answer that. It's getting harder and harder. I actually have, I was talking with these guys earlier before we came up, that I have actually taken on a few of my guys that have been with me for 5, 10, 12 years that I've taken out of Voc schools and at a young age, and I've been able to train them, not break them of any old habits, and teach them to do things the right way, and they've turned out to be great people on my team. And you gotta, unfortunately, as much as you don't like to hear it, you have to pay them because they're worth a lot of money to you to have. So you got to treat them right and pay them right.
Anybody else?
All right.
You talked about the initial consultation and then moving forward from that. Once you've had that initial consultation and have decided to move forward, do you then do you have a fee structure then for the design work? How does that process work?
I would say that it's based on the project. So I don't have a set fee per se. I look at what my investment is going to be. Am I talking about a kitchen remodel? Am I talking about a whole house? So there's different layers of investment on our end. And so I think that back to know what you are worth, know what you need to get paid to do what you do, and just put it on the table. People, if they truly want to invest with you, they will pay the price. So long, it has to have some rhyme and reason to it, and just be very, very transparent with how long it's going to take and what the money is going to get them. So we usually show people past projects as well. Somebody said that. For a client to understand what they're signing up for, what they're actually paying you for, it's good to bring out an old project and just go through a binder and say, here's what we did for them, here was the process, here's the pictures, the befores, the afters, here's what they paid, and they see how long it took, and they can see that someone else is also investing in you. And so if you show that, you have that crowded restaurant feeling where people want to do business with you because other people are doing business with you. Mm-hmm. But if you're not showing them past projects and you just have a fee, what's the fee going to get them?
Any more questions?
Hello? Okay, sorry.
Adele.
Your standard markup, I know different areas, different parts of the country, different markups. What's the average markup on a bathroom, say, for instance?
I can't hear him.
And a kitchen, bathroom and kitchen markup percentage?
Markup?
Yeah.
15 to 20%. 15 to 20%. I can't hear you.
15 to 20%?
Yes.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Hi. So my question has to do with staffing, kind of building on what...
Can't hear.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. So it has to do with the question of staffing and building on what the other gentleman asked, but not from staffing, but not from the standpoint of subcontractors.
Pull the mic away from me a little bit.
Away?
Yeah, just away a little bit.
Don't eat the mic?
Yeah, there you go.
Like that?
Yeah, a little more.
All right, I'm going to hit my... So what I'm wondering about is if you're thinking of, as well know, business has increased and you're trying to build your business, one, via subcontractors, but two, via finding either other designers or other people who do what you do. So how do you sort of clone yourself in that? So my question has to do with how do you increase your business by finding the right people who do what you do, like under you specifically. Did you hear? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would say that you don't want to find another person that's just like you. You want to complement your skills with finding people that maybe are better at certain things than you are. You know, like I'm not an accountant, so maybe I want someone that's good at that for that part of the job. So I'm the only one that's exactly like me, but I'm going to make a team that together, all of our talent is what we need to get the job done the best way possible.
Yeah. Well, no one's going to be you unless you're paying them what you pay yourself. So, or if you had the dream and created the company. In my terms, I've been at it for 25 years. So someone would have to have the exact level of experience and pay. But it has more to do with find people that are better than you. That's key. I'm glad you said that because you're not good at everything and you can't do everything. There's just no way. So find an accountant, find a designer that's good with drafting, maybe a designer that's good with furniture, depending on what you're doing, a good project manager. You can't do all these things. Foreman, depending on whether you're out in the field or in the office, it's always about also making sure that everyone has a definite purpose for that company. So what is their main point every day? What is your job? Is it a project manager? Then that's what you have to do is manage all the projects. But if they're also then doing something else, then they're becoming weaker at what you hired them to do. So keep them focused.
You're only as good as the people you hire. I always tell my guys, I want to listen and I want to hear whatever you have to offer. If I like it, I'm going to use it. If I don't, you got to listen.
So we have time for one more question if anyone has it.
As far as presenting to clients who may be challenged with their power of visualization, are you using more 3D rendering technology, and do you find that the added cost for that is paying off in expectations?
I use Chief Architect. I do it myself. I think it depends on the project. There are a couple of really good hand renderers that I know of in the industry, and it just depends. Some people are more visual than others. That's again why I love to use tools like Pinterest, because sometimes they describe things that you would never think that's what they meant. so that all helps. Picture is worth 1,000 words, but I think that there's enough. All the design programs out there give you that capability to do a perspective, so you can get good at that with a little investment in time, and it doesn't cost you any extra then.
I would say that to translate that in a different way, a plan is not a plan if a contractor can't look at it and build it. And so pretty pictures, all that, elevations, floor plans, that doesn't go far unless it's in such detail that you could hand it off to Tom and he could say, okay, I think I know what to do. I have the product lists, I have the plans, I have the details, and in the end, that is what a substantial plan is, that's what a plan needs to be, because we're not just selling a picture. We're not just providing a concept. The reason people are coming to us is because they want something done, so we have to be able to produce something that's very wholesome for it to be produced.
Yeah, the picture definitely lets the homeowner understand what they're getting better than a blueprint, but the blueprint is better for the builder to build off.
Two different things.
Two different, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Two necessary but totally different.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much to our esteemed panel for their expertise on solving some of these challenges. We hope you got a lot of good information. Thank you so much for attending, and good luck with the rest of your show.
Have fun.